Hey, how you doing? Okay, let's do it to it. I'm gonna go over a game. It's a game between Josh Gibbous Sky versus Kim Steven Rolu Yap. The game was, the tournament was actually in Western State Open, Reno, Nevada. That was the name of it. This is a game position where both sides were working behind their lines, basically, trying to improve their position. The tension continued to increase as White improved his position. Then on move 41, this was actually a little kind of clip from what he said about the game before he starts. The center opened up with e5. The opening was the Con Sicilian, and it was a Maroczy bind formation. Although this kind of position has been played in many top games, it seems Black does not get that much out of it. Sicilian players regularly play cramped passive positions, but the particular line is based hoping for a break with d5 or b5. You'll see this later on, which is rather hard to do. Knight f4 on move, knight f6 on move 4 for Black may offer some more play for White. So this is what he says: e4, c5. So this is the Sicilian. Knight f3, e6, d4, pawn takes, knight takes, and then a6. This is to stop the knight from jumping in here and causing some pandemonium on c7. Knight c7 check. If he had a bishop here, of course, this would be a good move. c4 was played, so this is the Maroczy bind setup. White is Black, and his opponent actually played who is the White is 22-18. His opponent is 24-98. So these players aren't slouches. Let's just say they're pretty strong. They know what they're doing. But it doesn't. It mean you got to remember one thing, my friends. It doesn't mean they can't be defeated. So just keep that in mind. Just because they're like 2,500 doesn't mean that they can't be defeated. If they make enough bad moves and you make enough good moves, you'll win. Because then they'll blunder and you'll pick up a piece. Knight c3, Queen c7, trying to develop. Bishop e3, and this is to fortify your knight. Also potentially get ready for bishop e2, and then castles, and f4, f5 to break the center open. d6, bishop e2, bishop b6. So he's kind of like just setting up f3, bishop e7, a4 to kind of put some question, and this also stops the advance of his pawn forever. Also, it allows for a potential reroute in if need be. If, let's say, Black pushes here, White can always reroute his knight in to here in 3 moves. Since the center is closed in theory. So for castles is played by Black, castles is played by White. So bishop b7. This is to get some scope. My grandmaster teacher told me never be fooled by pawn structure that's like this. Even if a piece is right here, eventually this could be gnawed down or filed down by just, maybe even a sacrifice, and then you can get to this piece here if there was a piece there. So it's never without question. Always be careful with your moves. Make sure that your moves have points behind them. Don't just move it because you think it looks good. That's vital. Okay, dokie. Okay, let's see where we castles. Bishop B. Okay, Queen E1. Rook E8. Because even though this pawn's right here, this rook does eyeball the queen on E1. So you'll know a good chess player by when they see this here, they go, huh, don't really like that, so they'll just move their queen. They'll move their queen off to the side. It's not reactive chess. This, it has a threat of with the knight. If the knight was to take here, pawn takes, then you have bishop takes there. So this does have some teeth to it. So it's not like it's not without a bite. So knight bd7, that now covers this pawn, so that idea is out of the question. F to c1, but now white's saying, you had a rook on my queen, now I got a rook on your queen, what you gonna do about it? And black plays a5. Bad, not good. I gotta say it. Bad move, bad move. I usually, you know me, I don't usually say bad moves, but that is a huge succession in black's pawn structure. He succeeded a whole bunch here. Not a good idea. It was a big time mistake. The positional inaccuracy. See, he even says it. Giving up the b square, it hurt him in the long run. We even talked about that. Without even looking at it, we just talked about that. So the knight d to b5 was actually played here. Now he's going to be feeling the hurt of his cramped position. Knight d5 is also a playable idea. And if pawn takes, oops, sorry, my bad. No, that's after this. That was not the move. Sorry, this was the move here. Queen c6, and then rook d1. They're talking that potentially here knight d5 here is an exclam move. This is an exclam move, because then the bishop would have to go back to d8, not d8, sorry, b, so this would stay, sorry, but d8 is here, and then rook d1, queen a6, but not queen a6, what was I thinking, bishop a6, attention to detail. Knight takes f6, check. Bishop takes f6, and then boom, rook takes, and you're really doing good here. Really doing good. This is pretty sweet. The queen is gonna have to go all the way back. Or it could stay right here, but and now you could potentially double up rooks and get some sort of an attack going. But so rook d5, d1, knight c5 was actually played here. So black considered that even though he gave up this square here, he has an outpost too on c5. So it's not like he didn't acquire something out of it. Rook ac1, rook a d8. So they're challenging there, as they're saying in the olden times before a battle, they would jiggle their shields and tap it with the sword. They're posturing right now. They're good. Both of their sides are shaking their shields, and they're pounding it with their sword, making a lot of noise, saying, "We're here. We're ready to fight. Are you gonna come? Bring it. Bring it." You know, they're doing that type of stuff. Knight f here, and they're like, you know what? Black's like, you make the first move, White. You push it. You push it. You know what? I could rest here all day long, my friend. That's kind of what I'm getting the feeling that Black is saying to White. You're the one that has to push it. You know what? I'm the higher rated player. I have patience. I didn't get that rating from not being patient. And so White's going to have to cool his kind of a little bit of his attack. See, and what he's doing is, this kind of was a little bit too energy. What he should have done is been cool and just played knight d5 and said, you know what, this is an interesting line here. If he wants to take here, I'll be more than happy to take. And then when the queen moves back, actually the queen's trapped, isn't it? So the knight can't be taken. So the knight's kind of stuck here, and if the rook was to move now you could take here, here, and then plunk. You picked up a pawn here, and you're going to have a tremendous attack to boot after this rook. The queen retreats back. Now you have rook cd1, and then eventually what you're going to do is play bishop takes knight when pawn takes. Then you can actually maybe that'd be interesting. But you have to always be on the lookout for those type of setups. So knight e5. Rook cd. Bishop a6. Bishop takes e5. B takes c. And then f4 too. It's going to try to splinter the center, just shatter the center. G3. Bishop e6. I don't know if this was a good move. I'm not sure if this was such a good move. Bishop f3. I think the reason he was afraid of is this bishop. White is now the one. So see, White is slowly building up, and bishop e d c8, c8. Bishop c8. What am I? Did I do something here? sure I didn't move the wrong rook. Oh. No, that's not. That wasn't white. Let me see. Just give me just a second, my friends. Okay, AC1. Okay, ow. Gotta make sure I move 6. I move 16. This is the problem right here. There we go. Let's get back to where we were. Yes. So takes, he takes F and G, and there we go. Ah, perfect. Okay. Now we're back to where we want to be. Bishop C8 now. There we be. There she be. Now, that's an interesting setup for sure. I knew there was a problem because the bishop couldn't get to that spot. And that is a problem. So what you have to sometimes do, my friends, is reverse, go back and see what piece was actually moved there, and then you can kind of backtrack the moves, which is really cool. H6 is played. Rook D3. Okay, knight there. Trying to blast it. Queen D2. Trying to get some some attack. Rook D8 or D7, not D8. Knight C2, 92. ED, so right here. C1. Bishop B7. Rook 8. G2. And Rook A6. Queen E3. To put some teeth to this move. Boom. It's building up, building up, building up. Knight takes. D takes. Rook takes. Knight takes. Knight there. That. Oops, sorry, that's not the move. Now you're good to go. Because I know you're thinking, after takes here, can't he just take here? Yeah, he could, but kaboom. Then you're down an exchange at this point, and it's totally winning. You don't want to do that. Queen takes, bishop takes. You have two. Takes H. G takes. Queen is F4 check. King E2. Queen takes C2 check. King E3. Queen takes A4. Rook F1. Rook A8. Rook takes F7. Queen G4. And Rook E7. Rook B8. Rook E check. King takes. Queen takes. King H7. Then H5. Queen G1 check. King D2. Then Queen F2 check. And I think this is a draw, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a plain old draw with an equal position. So Queen E3. Queen C8. Oh, not B8, C8. Queen E1. Queen D8. Boy, it's a lot of posturing right now. Queen there. Bishop C6. Rook C1. Queen A8. Queen E3. '92. He's trying to go to C3 again. Rook D8. Rook E-C. Knight D7. Black could try Rook D7 again, but then Queen E2. D8. King G1. Rook B6. Bishop G2. Queen B8. Rook D2 up here. And Bishop F6. Kind of attack there. King H2. Bishop D4. Knight takes d4. C takes d4. Rook takes d4. e5. F takes e5. D takes e5. Rook takes there. Knight takes. Knight b5. With a slightly better game for white. E5 was played here, and this actually gets an exclam mark right here. Knight b6. Bishop takes was actually no better, he was saying. Wait a second. Oh, I gotcha. Bishop takes here. Queen takes. Knight f8. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Knight e4. Bishop e7. Takes. Bishop takes. Knight takes c5. Rook b6. And Knight b3 with a substantial advantage. This is almost winning for white. And bishop takes. Knight. Oh. Knight takes the pawn. Queen e4. Knight takes d2. Knight takes f. Bishop f8. d7. Bishop e7. Bishop b7. Rook b6. Bishop c8. Then bishop f6. Rook d here. Now we're attacking. Knight takes d. Rook takes. h5 is what's played. Queen c4. Queen a8 check. Then king h2. Gotta be careful. There was actually a game that was played against Topalov versus Dominguez, and it was a blitz game, and it got down to like seconds, and Topalov walked into a position where this was mate here, even though he was up. So Topalov walked into a losing move. So be careful to always analyze the position, because you don't want to get checkmated and you've worked so hard. so this is 51. Bishop e7. Queen e4. Takes. Bishop. Pawn takes, turns into rook check. Queen takes. Let's see, he's got 4 pawns versus 5, so he's actually 2 pawns down. Knight d1. Knight e3. Rook d7. Knight c4. Queen e8. Knight e5. Rook takes. Queen takes. And trading would actually lose, so he's got to come over. Queen f3. Queen takes. Knight takes. Actually, he's got 2 pawns for the piece, sorry. Because he's got 4 and he has 6. Still hard to win. So f6. King g2. King f7. King f2. King g6. Oops. Knight d2. So he's trying to get here to go after that pawn. King f5. Knight c4. King e4. Knight takes a5. G5. Knight c6. Bishop f8. F takes. F takes. H takes G. And then King f5. King e3. C4. And then King d4. Here's to go after this and get this pawn rolling. C3. Knight takes c3. He doesn't want his king to get a move. Bishop d6. Knight e4 and bishop c7. And knight e7. Just stay there. And so the pawn's gonna end up just queening, so he resigned here. This is actually where the game resigned, at this point here, with this check. Okay. Okay, so we'll head into our puzzles now. That was a pretty long game, but it was all worth it. So you know what? Sometimes it takes a little bit, but you get through those games and you learn from them and you get to see ideas behind it and it's all worth it. Alrighty. Let's board edit. Yep. White to move, mate in 2. White to move, mate in 2. Oh, hey, Ari, how you doing? Rook C7. KA8. It takes, okay. Yep, you got it. Boom. And then boom. Good job there. Nice work. Oh, yep, good. White to mate in 2. Kind of a odd looking one, huh? Okay, let's see here. Keep your mind on the prize. Let's see. Rook F1 check. There's two moves at that point. E6 and E4. Yeah, that works. maybe not. C4, I don't know if it, let's see. Check. Yeah, it works. Yeah, I got him. I got it. If you need any help, just ask. Thinking that. Maybe, let me see. Okay, do you have it? Did you get the puzzle right? Oh, Rook F1. I was going to give it to you. Okay, Rook F1 is the first move. I'll give you the first move. Rook F1 check. Rook F1 check is the first move. Now black has two moves to go to. King E4 or King E6. And what is the move sequence that mates for each one of those? Those are black's two moves. He can move here or there. These 2 points here for black. Do you have a line that you, for each one of those moves, do you have a move that delivers checkmate? Make sure to see if I have any too much lag. King E4. G6 mate, yeah. There we go. Good job. Good find on that. Nice job. Okay, onward and upward. Onward and upward. I just wanted to make sure I was doing it right for you guys, so that's why my team. I wanted to make sure I was doing it right for the team. So yeah. Nope. No. You got the line? Hey, how you doing? This is a mate and 2. If you're interested, you can put in the chat what you think the mate 2 for white. Oh, nice. So, Erie, what do you think the move is? Ah, yes, C5. Oops, not that. Sorry, it's mouse slip on my part. This move right there is. Yikes. Sorry. Let me see here. What did I do for mate there? D6 is mate. Yep. There we go. Great job. That's mate. These are just 2 mate puzzles we're working on. You're more than welcome to put in like the notation or what you think it might be. Oops, sorry about that. 1 second, Erie. Have a night in a wrong. It slipped out of its spot for some reason. That's kind of odd. Okay, now let's see. We got it. Let's give it. Let's mate this king. Let's checkmate this king. I should have that right. Yep, I got it right. There's a mate 2 there. Yep. 2 knights. Great find there. Oops. 1 second. There we go. Now we got it. Mate 2 for white. Yep. There you go. Nice job. Good find there. Okay, one more and then we get to the other page. Then we get to turn the page. No. So 2 bishops and a rook. Boom, boom. And another rook. And there we go. Mate 2. This one's a pretty straightforward in your face one. This is a straightforward one. You can't miss this one. And there's 2 mates. Yep. Can you solve the other one? You've got one mate. You got one of the mates. Can you find the other mate? Oh, I think that is the only mate. Sorry. I forgot. If we tried the other way, yeah, there really is only one mate. If we tried this way, he could actually run. There's only one mate. Okay. My bad, sorry. One mate, that's it. Okay, onward to the next page. Oh wow, we got a lot of rooks here. We got two rooks that we get to use for we got a pawn here, rook here, and rook there, and here, king here. We get two bishops too, surprisingly. Two bishops. Hey, how you doing, Lord's Courage? We're in the puzzle time. I believe this one. I'm pretty sure about this one. I think this one does have a mate. This one does have a mate here, and two. I think there are two move sequences. I'm sure on this one because I kind of looked at it. Let me see here. There goes there. There's mate. There. If he goes over there, that's mate. Okay. Actually, there's two mates. Yeah, two. Two. Okay. First one is rook. First move, rook g4 check. That's the first move. Yep. Rook g4 check. And if king f5, then you have mate with king to e7. If he goes king h5, you have mate with king king to h8. There's your mates. I think there's one problem with that one. If king to here, he's got a flight squared to g5. G5. And then f yeah. If here, if that, he's got G5 too on both of them. Hey, you know what you know what, we help each other out. We're a team. We improve because we're good as a team. I'll give you this to look at. I'll be right back. Let's see, king takes. Yep. You got it. Nice. That was fast. I'll set you up another one. Hold on. Wait. You were right. It's 100% right. Oh, you have it right. I'll B6. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. That does, yep, that's right. So there is a problem there, okay. No, that allows that, so that can't be. Pawn push. Pawn push. Oh yeah, you're... Yep, that's right. You got it. That's the move. The other one, yeah, you got it. Nice work. Nice job there. Okay, this one here. Okay, I'll be right back. I'll leave this free to work on. I'll be right back. I meant to. Let's see here. Yep. There you go. Let's do it to it. Next one on the list. And away we go. Mate and 2 for white. This should be a in your face one. This is like a hello, wake up, I'm home type of move. So this shouldn't have it. You shouldn't have any problem with this. I know you guys got this. This has two mates, two different mates though. Right there. King A8 takes. Okay, what's the other one? What's the other mate after knight A7, A8? What's the other mate? Oh, wait a second. There is only one mate. Oh, I am sorry about that. Yeah. For some reason I thought he could come here. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know why I thought he could come there. If he came here, then you'd have a mate. You'd have a different mate. Yeah. If he came here. Sorry, there's only one mate. So, good find on that. Good spot. Good spot on that mate. I thought there were two. I don't know why. I guess I had the king over here or something. That's fine. Attention. We always gotta have attention to detail. Alright. Do 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 do. Do do do. Do 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 do. Happy. Oops. Oops. There we go. That was weird. There we go. Well, the black's queen's boxed in there. Let's see if we can't mate. Let's do it to it. This is right there too. You can't miss this one. This is an excellent one. Ooh, nice. Can you continue? Can you continue the move? A little further? Yep. There it be. There it be. Kaboom. There's your mate. A5. Yep. King A6. And what else is the final blow? What's the final blow at this point? Finish it off. Finish it off. I'll give you like 20 seconds to put it in. See what the final knockout is. Come on, put it in. You got it. Good. That's an excellent. Excellent. Yep. There we go. Great job. Thumbs up. Yeah. Hurrah. That was excellent. Nice. That's hardest thing sometimes to do is to pull the trigger, but we're getting better about that, so that's I'm thinking that's there we go. This is the last one. and then we're going to be going into our endgame studies. Make sure I got this right. Yep. Okay. Yep. That's right. There you go. Now it's endgame. Endgame, here we come. Yeah. Alright, we get to put some time into the endgame. Hurrah. Alrighty. Let's go to the studies. Let's see where we are. Let's see, where are we? In a pawn down rook endgame where the defending king can no longer stay in front of the pawn, the defender should always move his king to the short side of the board so that his rook will have long distance checks or distance checks. That's easy, but be careful, the defending king is already cut off. So yeah, this is, let me see here, this is, I have to delete this. This is the most ideal to our this is very similar to our previous setup here. But what we have to do is it proves to be very important. Instead of being on e6, suddenly it is clear that the black king wasn't. Hold on. This is not the right one. Yikes. Sorry, this is a wrong one. There we go. I gotta pull up a new one. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Just hold on. I have to set this up wrong. I thought it was the same one, but it's a little different. The king has moved just so slightly. A move in chess really can change the whole scenario of the board. It's black to move here. I'm just going to have it do a move so that I have the accessibility to it. Just hold on. Just 1 second. So this allows rook to f8 exclam to be played. And what happens at this point is if we exchange here, king takes, we come here, we get the opposition. At this point, you get this. But the difference on this one was where the king was. If he tried, if we tried this here, he's cut off. He's not on e6. If he tries here, we can actually potentially come up, but if he comes over, then you have that. And what you could do here now is push, and now that queens. There's a huge difference. Okay, now we're setting up another one. Okay, rook c1, c1. There we go. Okay, here. This is what it says. Our next example show that the defender can draw against a pawn on the fifth if the king is correctly placed on the short side of the board. Black's king is on the short side of the board. Oops, there we go. Forgot, I pushed the wrong one. It's actually studies that I want. I'm gonna flip the board too. Black to h8. Black draws by giving his rook checking distance on the long side of the board. See, this is the long side of the board. Because what happens is, this is the short side of the board. How many checks could we really give? One. So if we brought a rook here, the king can go there, no more checks. But if we had our rook here, we potentially have the ability for checks along here as well. All of a sudden, white threatens to a cascade of long distance checks along the H file. Okay. White has actually no answer to this, no hiding spot to this. If d6, the attempt to block the checks via rook e1 don't bring anything to pass. So if we tried rook e1, then all he's going to do is hold on, let me see here. He'll just check here, and then when we play there, if we takes, we come in, and potentially here, you gotta be careful. This is a draw. well, that's a draw. And if king e5, h5 check, king e6, h6 check, if king d7, king h check, if king c8 check, if king d7 check, king e6 check, king f7 check, and king g6, rook d, and now that the king is far from his pawn, black is able to pile up on this pawn and win. So that if rook like here, there's no way to stop this from happening. So I have to turn the board. So d6, queen h, rook h8, h4, king e5, f5 check, f6, h, d7, h, and then f8, d7, and like what we said, as in earlier, they pile up on it. So let's do another one. So white to move here. I want to throw this into your corner, my friends, and I wanted to see what you say. Is this a win or a draw for white? A win or a draw for white? From what you know about the short side and the long side, is this a win or a draw for white? I have to make this into a study, so I will. While I'm making it into a study, I will propose that to you. Are you sure it's a win? From what we learned about in our just recently with long side and short side checks, are you sure that's a win? Or are you sure it's a draw? A win? Surprisingly, it's a draw. Surprisingly, it's a draw. I would think it's a win too. But this is the reason. Earlier we started on the 4th rank. It wins if the defending king is cut off by 2 files. So is he cut off by 2 files? No. So here, because he's only if the pawn was on the 5th here, it would only need 1 file. but because the pawn's on the fourth, it needs two files. So the black's king would have to be right here. This is where the black king would want to be, and our rook would want to be here, and then it would be winning. But when it's on the fourth, you need two. Remember that. Always remember this: a pawn on the fourth, the side like this, you need to be two ranks or two files. You have to be two files. Oops. You got to be two files. The king has to be right here, so that this will win. But if the pawn was right here, on e5, then because it's one file away, one file apart, it will work. So always remember, if the pawn's on the fourth rank, you need two files for the enemy king to be away, or two ranks. And if it's on the fifth or on the fourth, white or black, depends, you have to, it can be one away, and that's how come it wins. But here it's a draw. The king's close enough. Black's king is close enough. The tempting e5 seems strong, since rook e8 is a mistake. So what was actually played was king f4, but they're saying that if you thought about pushing here and king f8, this is actually a mistake for black. Black actually is going to lose here. e4, and takes us to our first our first pawn setup. The fifth rank and or beyond wins if the white king or whatever king is cut off by one file on the long side. And it's cut off by one file on the long side. This is considered the short side over here. This is the short side because there's not a lot of spots for checks. This is considered the long side because there's more spots for checks. The reason is the rook potentially can go to a1 and then come in behind and start checking the king. But we got to see last time when it was the opposite. Black was able to come over and do some checks, but it doesn't work in this scenario. Okay. Yeah, the tempting e5 move. Actually, at this point, the winning move is rook to rook a4 here. Rook a4 is the winning line. This is the grand line of lines. When white's king is cut off from the pawn, now move that takes away the d file, basically this right here. There's how do we let me read that really quick. With rook a4 exclam, when white's king is cut off from its pawn, and he did the exclam, which means bad thing. Now moves that take the rook off of the d file, like okay, let's see if there was a move that took him off the d file. Let me see here. King d6, king c7. Here's one. So white's without any good follow-up on this one. If rook d4 here, rook takes d4, king takes d4, and now that we are able to get in front of the pawn, it's a draw. So that's a draw. It's all based on that. So let me see here. Right, a4, okay. Alright. So now let's get on to our other spot of checking here. The front check defense is quite effective against the pawn on the fourth. So the frontal check defense is okay as well. King g5. Note that king e5 is king e5 doesn't work here. Exactly, that's right. You're right on that. King f5, f8, king e6, and gets white. This gets white absolutely nowhere. So king g5 was played, and then rook e8 is actually an exclam mark. It kind of it beckons back to that one. Remember the Lucinda, the rook Lucinda, when the king gets really close to touching the pawn here, this rook comes over and checks the king away. It's kind of like slapping it away from what it needs to do. That's kind of what this is. King g8 was actually a serious mistake, so do not do that. Just go straight back to it's actually a blunder actually. King f6, and if rook f8, check, king e7, and now there's no more checks, and it just doesn't work. And if rook e8, now e5 can be protected by the king. So this actually will win. And the rule of the the king's on the long side on this one here, and our king's on the short side, reigns supreme, and we win now. This actually wins. So rook e8, king f5, f8 check, king g6, e8 exclam, rook d4. White's last shot is to now play king f here. So king c5 exclam. This is an exclam, and this is an exclam. And a very important resource. Note that if on the original position the king was on c7 up here, it wouldn't work. Well, I'll show you. We'll do this here. We'll do one more. Let me see what's. Oh, perfect. Okay. Okay. Rook d5, check. King c6, and then king f5. He says it's still tricky at this point. King f, king e5. This also allows black to kind of get a little bit. King g4. Oops, sorry. Here, not this one. Sorry, king g4. Also forces black to be careful. King e8, king f4, rook f8 check, rook f5, rook a8, rook f7. And then if you played e5 here, This actually sets up a really nice Philindor's position with an active rook and a passive king and a passive rook. So rook f7. We have to make our rook active. Otherwise, what happens is we fall into a Philindor's position draw. King d6, king f5, a5 check, king f6, and then e5, rook to d7 check, king takes, king e7, and then since black has the opposition, the game is a draw. So it's still a draw. It's in that scenario, it's based on who's to move. Rook e8 check, d4, rook e7, e5, rook d7. An idea that we've already seen: the rook allows the black king to make its way in front of the pawn. So rook takes, d5, e7, e6, and basically stalemate. Stalemate elapses here. There you go. That's a draw. Now we're going to look at one last position before I probably log off, and that is I have to pull this up here, board editor. This is when the pawn's on the fourth, but the king is two files or two ranks cut off, and he's on the short side of the board. I think this might still be a draw. Yeah, I believe this one's a draw, if I'm not mistaken, because it's a knight pawn, and you have to be to the far corners of the world. Remember that? You have to be over here, and your rook, you have to be 3 or more away if it's a knight pawn, but if it's a rook pawn, you have to be 4. So if it's a knight pawn, you have to be 3, the king has to be 3 files or ranks away, and he's only 2 here, so it's not enough time to have it so that we can actually win. If he was over here and it was cut off like this would actually be winning, because we have enough time to maneuver our rook around and get it into position, but because we're only 2, we don't have enough time for our rook maneuvers, and the king gets too close. Okay, so it's white to move and draw. Although the stronger side wins with the bishop pawn or center pawn on the 4th rank, if the defending king is trapped 2 files away, a knight pawn on the 4th, it is it's problematic, he says. In this case, the stronger side usually wins if the defending king is trapped 3 files away. 3 files. So this doesn't work. So I'll show you how we can try for it to work. Rook e2. White can't improve his position. He passes the move. and hope that black will make a mistake. King d6 was actually played, which is an exclam. Oops, I have to make this a study. Sorry, just one sec. There we go. Oddly, this is the only way to, moving the king to d6 is the only way to draw. Anything else loses. Like if rook g7, it destroys the ability for the distance checks. So the king can actually go h here, here, rook g here, king h8, and then king to g6, and now he's close enough to attack the rook. So that loses. Not the a8 one also. So this is a I have to put a double question here. Double question here. Let me get my moves, and then king d4 is a double question. Okay, so let me I had to get those marked. G5 at this point is hopeless. It's hopeless for we're close enough to getting a Lucinda now. Getting here. And then d4 is a most interesting blunder since it allows white to cut black's king off. See, at this point, this was a double is an exclam. This cuts black's king off from coming to protect this. So king d5 and rook h6, and black's cut off here. And black actually will, black is lost. All of a sudden black's game is lost. His king can't get into the fight since the 6th rank is no path zone, or it's part of white's territory now. And white's rook blocks all checks along the h-file, which allows the king to calmly march to h5. Or calmly. A simple sample of what could occur is king e5, king h4, rook g7, king h5, rook g8, g5, king f5, rook h6 check, king e5, king h6, rook h, and then king to g7, and rook to h1, trying to get in behind. Sometimes cutting the defending king off along a rank is as good as cutting it along a file. Perfect. We're actually ending on perfect at this moment. This is we'd be entering a whole nother chapter at this point. So we got to finish this one up, and then we're entering another mini chapter inside of Class A. So D here, rook e4. Otherwise, black just moves his king back and forth between a6 and a5, or d6 and d5. By defending his pawn with the rook, white hopes to revitalize his king to guarding, actually basically make it so his king doesn't have to guard this pawn here. White wants to, that's why he went rook e4, is to guard g4 pawn. King d5 exclam, chasing the rook away. Rook e1, and then king d6, and they agree to a draw. If the king will, if there's one more line, chasing the rook away, but is a good way. Don't make a mistake of playing rook d7 though. This is actually a losing blunder, because h4, rook here, king h5, rook check, king f6, rook there, and then king g, and he wins, and he wins. And after that, it allows the pawn to be pushed up the board and a Lucinda position to be created. But this, at this moment here, is considered a draw. So this was a draw here. I'll put this right here. So, any questions? I know that was a lot of information. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them before I log off. No questions? How about you, Lord's Courage? Do you have any questions? Okay. And you're more than welcome to go over the studies again if you like. So they're available for you too. And if you like, you can always click the heart button on it and give it a heart, like, or whatever. That's cool too. Okay. I wanted to thank you all for logging on. You know, what we have to do is remember, we become what we think about. So if you think positive thoughts, if you think positive thoughts, then it'll come to pass, like the little engine that could. If you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. Either way, you're right. Or like what Bruce Lee said, he didn't fear the person who practiced 10,000 individual kicks. He feared the person who practiced one kick 10,000 times. And that was the thing that he was talking about. And like Yazir, but you have to remember, you begin with Yazir Seramwan, Grandmaster, says that with every long journey begins with one small step. And Bruce Lee also said, knowing is not enough, you must apply. Willing is not enough, you must do. And he said that there are no limits. There are plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. And then we have our quote, of course, don't give up, get up. And then there's Tom Thumb Thumb. When Tango was doubting her, basically confidence in that she can do her abilities, he told her, treasure your victories. So they had a lot of victories, and learn from your losses and learn from your mistakes. And remember that mistakes don't define you. That's what he told her. It's how you handle the mistakes that define you. Not that a mistake, it's gonna happen. How do you handle a mistake when it happens inside of a game? Do you panic and then let it, as they say, you nosedive your plane, or do you go with it and then pull out and pull up? The hardest thing is sometimes to go with a position. We want to fight that position like there's to no end. But you know what? We have to keep in mind that sometimes if you're stuck in a positional game, just go with the position and eventually outweight your opponent and you'll win. That's how it works. But let me see, did I do everything? Let me see, there. I wanted to make sure I have everything. Yeah, oh yeah, my last one is if you're going to sit down and play a game of chess, bring your Grandmaster calculating glasses along with you, and always put them on when you're sitting down over the board, OTB, or if you're online playing, bring your calculating glasses to the games either over the board or on the screen. Never leave them behind. Your calculating glasses or Grandmaster glasses. But like when most are playing and you're studying, and they come over and ask you, what what are you doing? I'm a chest cruncher. What's a chest cruncher? A chest cruncher hangs up their coat, they hang up their hat, they sit down and study when most won't. A chest cruncher does, and that makes all the difference. And then you could say, you're more than welcome to come and study with me. And that opens a conversation to teach them chess and also the Lord. And you know what? Just remember, like what we talked about with the grounds, keep your ground well weeded. So if you have something that's stopping you from be doing something like chess, you know you're supposed to put time in, cut that off. You sometimes it may be something that it's like I really want to do it, but if you know that it like my mother and my dad and my grandfather told me, you can only spend a second once. So where are you going to spend that second? I'll leave you with that. As Wesley So says to the Lord Jesus, as I say, God bless, and I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, and Lord willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we'll keep pushing forward and doing some more puzzles, another game, and our more end game, and we'll learn how to handle rook on the pawn on the fourth and a pawn on the fifth, and the difference between a pawn when it's on the G pawn, how many squares you have to be away, the king has to be cut off. We'll do that tomorrow. Great job so far. Keep going. Great job, Team Chess Cruncher. Hoorah. Be blessed. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.